What's up, everybody? I am Jaspreet Singh and welcome to the Minority Mindset and welcome back to our new Monday segment. Yes, it is still new. We just created these new Minority Mindset laptop stickers here, and I am going to give the best commenter these laptop stickers for free, and I'll even pay for shipping. So watch this video, leave me a comment with your thoughts, and one of you are gonna win these laptop stickers for free. So we got this DM on our Minority Mindset Instagram page, and I'm gonna put this on the screen here from somebody named Barbara, and she has the Instagram handle African_ally_cat. And she sent me this image of a news article, and you can't see the image here. I'm going to show you in just a minute. But she said, "Hi, I'm not bashing. I would like your perspective on this article. Thanks." And this is one of those articles that makes you go, wow, the person who wrote this has no idea of what they're talking about. So I'm gonna pull up the article here and I'm gonna give you my reaction on it, and then I wanna hear your thoughts, and one of you are gonna win these laptop stickers for free. So this was the screenshot that I got on Instagram. It's an article from Quartz with the title, "Entrepreneurs don't have a special gene for risk. They come from families with money." So you can tell right from the title that this article is catering to people who haven't really done much, and it's saying it's okay that you haven't really accomplished anything because the people that are successful entrepreneurs come from money, and that's the reason why they're successful. I know this article is a little old. It was written back in 2015, but I just saw this on the Instagram DM recently, so that's why we're talking about it now. So the author of this article starts by saying, "We're in an era of the cult of the entrepreneur. We analyze the Tory Burches and the Evan Spiegels of the world." By the way, Evan Spiegel is one of the founders of Snapchat, "looking for a magic formula or set of personality traits that lead to success." So I think that's the first issue here. You're looking for a magic formula that leads to success, and that's really not how it works. So let's continue. So the author, who is the author, by the way? It's written by an Amy Groth. Okay, so Amy goes on to say that the most common shared trait, remember, this is the most common shared trait amongst entrepreneurs, is access to financial capital. So family money, an inheritance, or a pedigree and connections that allow for access to financial stability. The number one trait isn't hustle or drive or perseverance or just passion for being an entrepreneur. It's financial capital, having family money, having an inheritance. That's the reason, the number one reason why entrepreneurs are becoming successful. Okay, let's keep moving on. So I already highlighted the things that I wanted to point out, so this way I don't have to read the whole article to you. So let's just continue so you can see what this article is saying. The article goes on to say that for creative professions, starting a new venture is the ultimate privilege. Many startup founders do not take a salary for some time, and the average cost to launch a startup is around $30,000. Okay? And then it goes on to have this quote that says, "Following your dreams is dangerous." A 31-year-old woman who runs in social entrepreneurship circles in New York, she did not want to be named, but then she go on to say that this whole bulk of the population is being seduced into thinking that they can just go out and pursue their dream anytime, but it's not true. You can't pursue your dreams. It's dangerous. Make sure you buckle your seatbelt. And then this article ends by saying, "There's a lot of privilege involved with being an entrepreneur, which is a factor that is often underestimated. Not misunderstood, it's underestimated." As an entrepreneur, I'm not really upset by the article. I'm pretty sure Amy or whoever wrote this article because they wanted to trigger people and get clicks and shares or whatever. But I do think that this is one of the most ridiculous articles that I have ever come across. Saying that the number one trait to become a successful entrepreneur is having access to family money or having access to wealth or this network that you're born into really makes no sense. I mean, 80% of millionaires are first generation millionaires, meaning these are people that created their wealth themselves. And 9 out of 10 startups fail, according to entrepreneur.com. A lot of entrepreneurs get funding, yet they still fail. Why? Because it's not just having money that makes you successful as an entrepreneur, it's having that entrepreneur DNA. I mean, entrepreneurs have to be able to think, they have to know how to work, they have to know how to have passion towards the business, and they have to know how to be creative. These aren't things that money can just buy you. Damon John, one of the sharks from Shark Tank, talks about this in his book, The Power of Broke, but he says that having a whole bunch of money when you don't know how to use it is just going to fuel your stupidity. When you have to figure out how to use money as an entrepreneur, then you learn how to be resourceful, you learn how to be creative, you learn how to think. And these are things that every entrepreneur has to figure out. And if you're just given a whole bunch of money, you don't learn how to do these things. I'll give you an example. So Minority Mindset is a financial news and financial education company that I built from scratch with very little upfront money. I started with a cell phone and a white wall. That was it. I made videos on my iPhone 6 or iPhone 6S of me talking in front of a white wall. I had no equipment, no lights, no fancy camera, no fancy sound recording equipment. And I made videos talking about how to manage your money better and what's happening in the financial world. Like one of my first videos was the oil crisis issue and explaining what's going on in the oil market. That's it. It was a very basic setup that cost me almost nothing because I already had a cell phone and I had a white wall. All I had to do was buy a $15 or $20 tripod off of Amazon, and I put my cell phone on the tripod, and then I recorded myself talking, and that was it. And in terms of time commitment, I was already going to law school full time. So I was a full-time law student and I was working on a different business, and then I added on Minority Mindset because I really enjoyed talking about finance and I got screwed over in this other business. So I wanted to kind of talk about what happened, and this was my opportunity to do that. And so I wasn't sleeping much. I woke up early to work on my business. I stayed up late to work on my business and spent my weekends working on my business. As the company started to grow and generate revenue, that's when I started reinvesting this money back into the business by buying cameras and lighting equipment and sound equipment and all that fancy stuff, because I didn't want to just throw a whole bunch of money into this business. And it wasn't my parents who supported this idea. My parents wanted me to be a doctor. And me going to law school was like a compromise because I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So they weren't going to sit there and fund my crazy business ideas. And so if I wanted to do it, I had to put in the hustle and I had to find a way to keep my costs low. When I was in law school, I lived in a rundown apartment. I didn't even have a bedroom. I slept on the living room floor of an apartment for 4 years, and I kept my mattress in the hallway. So anytime I wanted to sleep, I would pull my mattress down into the living room, sleep, and then pick up my mattress and put it back into the living room. And that's why my rent was less, or right around $400 a month, including all utilities. So rent, gas, electricity, cable, and internet, and water. All for right around $400 a month because I wanted to reinvest everything I could back into my business. Now we are a large financial news and financial education company with over 100,000 active readers of our financial newsletter. We started with very little. We have $0 worth of venture capital, and now we have a nice office with full-time employees working on this company to grow our news and education. An entrepreneur is somebody who finds a way no matter what you throw at them. I mean, not everybody is meant or cut out to be an entrepreneur. It's not easy. And so saying that the reason entrepreneurs are successful is because they have access to a ton of money is just plain crap. And if you still don't believe me, maybe you'll believe this person. You probably recognize this face and that smile and that famous mustache. Well, Steve Harvey is one of the most recognized TV comedians in the world. But it wasn't all easy for him. He didn't grow up with a whole bunch of money or a whole bunch of connections. He had to build it himself. And in order for him to do that, he had to go homeless for 3 years, living out of his car, making just $50 a week. Because he knew that he wanted to be this famous comedian on TV, and he knew that he could make people laugh, so he went all in to do it. Or what about this guy? Have you ever heard of Oracle before? Well, the founder of Oracle, Larry Ellison, is now one of the richest people in the world. But he wasn't always rich. He wasn't born rich. In fact, when he was born, his mom didn't have enough money to raise him, so she put him up for adoption and gave him to a relative when he was just 9 months old. And then he dropped out of college twice, first because his adoptive mother passed away, and second because he couldn't handle college and didn't like it. And so then he moved to California because he liked computers, but he never worked with computers and he never took a computer science course. So he just moved to California because he knew that's something he wanted to do, and he learned it on his own by reading books and just figuring it out. He didn't have everything given to him, but he found a way because he was an entrepreneur and he learned how to hustle. Or what about J.K. Rowling? I know you know who she is, the author of Harry Potter and now one of the world's wealthiest women. Well, she didn't have everything given to her. I mean, she had to deal with her mom battling multiple sclerosis when she was a kid. She saw her mom die when she was young, and that took a toll on her. She moved to a new country to start this new career and this new life. but that led to her dating this guy, which broke apart and led to this miscarriage. And then she moved into government subsidized housing while living off of welfare while dealing with depression. And she channeled this energy into her book Harry Potter, and now she's one of the world's wealthiest women. It didn't happen because of her connections, it happened because of her drive. I know you recognize this face, Oprah, the TV talk show entrepreneur who is now a billionaire, but she didn't grow up with a family with a bunch of money or resources. No, when she was growing up in Mississippi, she had to wear potato sacks as dresses because her family couldn't afford proper clothing. And then in this article, it talks about how Oprah was raped for the first time when she was just 9 years old. And then she was sexually abused from the ages of 10 to 14. Howard Schultz, the man behind Starbucks, didn't grow up rich. He grew up in government subsidized housing in the projects, and his dad struggled with money. His dad was a blue-collar worker. He was a truck driver, factory worker, and a cab driver, and never made more than $20,000 in a year. And now Howard Schultz went on to build this huge multi-billion-dollar fortune with Starbucks. Eric Thomas, one of my favorite motivational speakers, didn't grow up rich. He grew up poor in Detroit. He was homeless and he had to eat out of trash cans to survive, and now he's one of the most successful motivational speakers of all time. He didn't grow up with a whole bunch of connections and resources. He hustled to make it happen. I can go on and on and on talking about people like this, and I know that these that I talked about today are outliers and extremely successful people, and not everyone is going to make it into the billionaire list. But the thing that everybody I talked about today had in common was not that they were given all this money or resources or networks from their family or people around them. They all hustled and they all had a passion for success and they all went all in towards their dreams. That's what's in common for entrepreneurs, not the fact that, oh, some entrepreneurs have a lot of money and that's how they become successful. An entrepreneur is going to be an entrepreneur whether you give them $1 million or whether they have 15 cents. An entrepreneur is someone who is going to figure out a way no matter what, because that's what entrepreneurs do. So now that you've heard my thoughts on this, I want to hear your thoughts. Do you have to have access to a whole bunch of money or a whole bunch of resources or networks to become a successful entrepreneur? Why or why not? Let me know in the comments below, and one of you are going to win these awesome computer stickers. I know you guys missed this, so I'm gonna bring it back. Thank you all for watching, and as always, keep hustling.